now starting chapter 4, and we're going to be going through different types of conjunctions. Now, it might seem odd to dedicate a whole chapter to conjunctions, but keep in mind with conjunctions you're dealing with style. So what we're doing with chapter 4 is stepping into a style issue, because conjunctions open up a whole new area of style that the other parts of speech can't quite do. They allow you to work with the structure of your sentences and your ideas at a far more advanced level than any other part of speech does. So learning how they work really opens up style options that you can choose and work with and change your sentences around and change the effect you have on the reader. Now, the two types of conjunctions, if you remember back to the 6 parts of speech we really went into, the two types of conjunctions are coordinating conjunctions and subordinating conjunctions. So there's coordinating conjunctions and subordinating conjunctions. With coordinating conjunctions, what you have is a logic of A plus B. You are somehow joining together two items, or you're joining another item onto a list of items of 3 or 4 or 5. You're adding one more on. So these conjunctions do the addition of adding the B on. They allow you to do that. And these are really simple words, words you are fully aware of and knew about all along. And, but, and or are by far the most common conjunctions, coordinating conjunctions, and you know how they work already. You knew that before you started this class. The other two that aren't quite as common are so and yet. So is going to be important for joining up clauses, and yet will be really just another word for but. But what these do, what these coordinating conjunctions do, is they join the 3 different types, are the 3 different parts of language. They join words, they join phrases, or they can join clauses. They can join any one of those. Now, the way most people know them when they start this class is they know how to join words together. So that's pretty straightforward. But you're going to see that they really do create parallels. Parallels are an extremely important stylistic technique. And they really give the more sophisticated writing a rhythm. And it makes it more effective, far more effective than if you don't have any parallels at all in the writing. And the parallels come in the forms of phrases and clauses. They do exist at the level of the word, but you're going to see those are extremely simple. When parallels become more effective is when you create them using the type of phrases we've covered. The 4 types of phrases being the noun phrase, the prepositional phrase, the gerund phrase, and the infinitive phrase. Or you can even use the verb phrase to do them. So they're very effective with phrases, but they can also be used with clauses. So the most powerful thing you can do with a coordinating conjunction is create a parallel in order to have the effect of creating a rhythm in your writing. And that rhythm guides the reader along. And it makes them admire the style of your writing, not so much the beauty of it, but it gives the ideas a force to them. So they work much more effectively. So let me go through these kind of parallels. First, the simplest kind, again, that you knew even before you started this class, I ate apples, bananas, and pears. This is a parallel of nouns. Apples, bananas, and pears. Okay? That one's simple. Almost anybody can follow that. It's easy to see. It's a noun, a noun, a noun. And the and joins the last noun onto the other 2. Okay? Nothing surprising there at all. Okay? But notice what I could also do. If I know that they could be used to join phrases, I could turn those nouns into noun phrases. And say, for example, I ate red apples, yellow bananas, and green pears. If I replicate the grammatical structure, the phrase structure, it now gives the sentence a rhythm. I ate red apples, yellow bananas, and green pears. That sentence works a little more effectively, most people would think, than the apples, bananas, and pears. If you prefer straight apples, bananas, and pears, that's your choice. That's fine. I found that most people prefer adding the color to each one. And grammatically what you're doing is adding adjectives to them and creating noun phrases. But I want to be very clear about this. It's not a right and wrong issue. It's not like spelling where there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. This is a style choice. If you prefer it that way, great. If you don't, then you can choose another way. When you're going into style, you're dealing with choices, with preferences. You might like this way of doing things, or you might like that way of doing things. Different people will have different preferences. But what you want to be aware of is the effect you could be having on your reader. Most folks do prefer the colors added to these, but you might or you might not. It's up to you. The important thing about the coordinating conjunctions is that you have that option. You can now start making those choices and see the possibilities for parallels throughout your writing if you just get very familiar with using and, but, or, and even so and yet. Okay? The main ones are and, but, and or. Those are the main ones. The next one deals with prepositional phrases. It says, Stephen ran across the street, over the lawn, and into the garage. You can see here I have 3 prepositional phrases. Across the street, over the lawn, and into the garage. That's 3 prepositional phrases strung together. These can often work quite well. Here it has the effect of giving some idea of motion to Stephen's running. Stephen ran across the street, over the lawn, and into the garage. We go across this, through that, and into there. That gives the effect of motion. Could I just say he ran, he just ran across the street, and Stephen, walked through or went across the lawn, and he ended up in the garage? Sure, I could. But I like the effect, and notice it's a preference because it's a style choice. You can choose a number of different ways, but I like the effect of repeating the prepositional phrases. This is something you can start to incorporate in your second and third draft stages. When you're writing, when you're rewriting really, when you're rewriting and developing, you can often try to start incorporating parallels to develop and give more precision. So this may have started off with Stephen ran across the street, and then I added on into later draft stages these prepositional phrases to create the parallel. So you bring in the and, but, and or, and start creating parallels at any level. The most effective level, or the way that most students prefer to do it, is with phrases. Those phrase types I gave you, the noun phrase, the prepositional phrase, the gerund phrase, the infinitive phrase, but also really the verb itself can be paralleled. Those are the most effective for most students. They prefer those. Okay? But again, to re-emphasize, it is in the end not a right and wrong matter, it's a style matter. And if you understand the structures, you can actually make more stylistic choices. Okay? The last one deals with not words, not phrases, but with full clauses. Samantha likes pizza, Raul prefers lasagna, but Diego wants lobster. All 3 of these are independent clauses, but notice the structure of each one. Starts with a subject, has a verb, then an object. Starts with a subject, has a verb, then an object. And then the last one starts with a subject, has a verb, then an object. So each one of them replicates a structure, and then you build one structure on top of another on top of another. That creates a rhythm that you hear when you're reading it. Samantha likes pizza, Raul prefers lasagna, but Diego wants lobster. What you do want to watch out for is that you don't get redundant or kind of sing-songy. Again, that's an effect. It's not a right and wrong issue. It's an effect upon the reader. This one gets the idea of layering one clause on top of another so that all the food choices seem like a lot. That's the effect. If you like that, go with it. If you don't, it doesn't work so well. Where these are often useful is, as I mentioned, in the second or third draft stages, for students who often write in choppy sentences, introducing these to combine your sentences can help out a lot. You have to be careful with them and watch the effect of your writing. But you can start joining different clauses together, or taking the sentence that you have and adding parallels to it of phrases, or just creating words into phrases. So transferring single words into full phrases. It develops the ideas. But again, in each case, it's a stylistic effect that you're looking for. And you've kind of got a sense with it, is this better or is this worse? Do I like this better? Is this what I'm trying to do? Or does it not work? That's an aesthetic choice, and it's up to you. In the end, as you learn grammar, it's not so much about right and wrong, but about having control over the effect you have on the reader. And right here with coordinating conjunctions, when you start writing with parallels, you can have a more effective piece of writing to get your points across, to inform people, and to impress upon people that you are a very capable and thoughtful person. Parallels do that. They're one of the few writing techniques, stylistic techniques, that you cannot really overdo. You could use parallels in almost every sentence that you write for an essay, and it should work fine. It should work all right. So if you create parallels upon parallels upon parallels, you will tend to have a better rhythm in your writing. You might try to create parallels in about half of your sentences, but be aware you can do this throughout your writing. You could do this in almost every sentence if you really wanted to. But always be aware it's your choice, and be aware of the effect it's having, that you think it's having on your reader. Okay? Take care.